The slap echoed louder than the thunder. Vanessa hit the ground hard, her pregnant belly barely cushioned by her trembling hands. Rain pounded her back like fists. Lightning split the sky, and for one frozen second she saw him, Trevor, her husband, standing in the doorway with his mother's hand on his shoulder, both watching her crawl through rising floodwater. "Trevor, please." Her voice cracked. "I'm 7 months pregnant." The door slammed. The lock clicked. She was alone in the storm, and the baby inside her had stopped moving. Hi, my wonderful friends. Welcome to Mr. William Chronicles, where powerful stories reveal life's deepest truths. Before we continue with Vanessa's journey, I want you to help me prove something wrong. Some people claim that this channel will not grow, that people will not listen to these stories. But I believe these stories deserve to be heard. Help me show them that these tales matter. So, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button right now and join this family of story lovers. It helps me keep bringing you these powerful stories. Drop a comment telling me where you're watching from and what time it is. You are the heartbeat of this channel, and knowing you're out there keeps these stories alive. 6 hours earlier, everything had been perfect. Vanessa stood in the nursery, folding tiny clothes with a smile she couldn't control. Cream-colored walls, hand-painted clouds on the ceiling, a rocking chair by the window where she'd imagined reading bedtime stories to her daughter. "Your daddy's going to love you so much," she whispered, pressing her hand against her swollen belly. The baby kicked back, strong and healthy. The front door downstairs exploded open with a bang that shook the walls. Vanessa froze. That wasn't normal. Trevor never slammed doors. She moved to the stairs carefully, gripping the railing, because her balance wasn't what it used to be. "Trevor? Honey, are you okay?" No answer. Just footsteps. Heavy, angry, coming up fast. Trevor appeared at the top of the stairs, and Vanessa's heart stopped. She'd never seen that look on his face before. Pure rage. His jaw was clenched so tight she could see the muscles jumping. His eyes looked right through her like she was a stranger. Behind him came Patricia, his mother. Designer suit. Perfect silver hair. Cold eyes gleaming with something Vanessa couldn't name. "Trevor, what's wrong?" Vanessa reached for him instinctively. Did something happen at work? He jerked away from her like her touch burned him. Don't you dare put your lying hands on me." Vanessa's breath caught. "What are you talking about? What happened?" Patricia stepped forward, heels clicking against the hardwood floor like a countdown. She held a manila envelope in her manicured hands. "Show her, Trevor. Show her what we found." Trevor threw the envelope at Vanessa's feet. Papers scattered across the floor. Medical documents. Laboratory letterheads. Charts with numbers and dates that blurred together in front of Vanessa's eyes. "Pick them up," Trevor said. His voice shook. "Pick them up and tell me how you got pregnant 4 weeks before our wedding." The world tilted sideways. Vanessa grabbed the doorframe to keep from falling. "What?" "Trevor, that's not. I don't understand what you're saying." "The DNA analysis doesn't lie, dear." Patricia's voice was smooth as silk and sharp as glass. "That baby you're carrying isn't my son's child. I had a private lab analyze your ultrasound measurements and medical records. They confirmed conception occurred a full month before your wedding. You were already pregnant when you trapped him into marriage." "That's insane." Vanessa's voice rose. "Trevor, you know that's not true. We waited until after the wedding. You insisted on that because of your family's traditions. Remember? You said you wanted everything to be proper." But Trevor wasn't looking at her anymore. He was staring at those papers like they held the secrets of the universe. The lab confirmed it. Conception date. 4 weeks before we married. 4 weeks, Vanessa. Who was he? Who did you sleep with? There was no one. Tears burned down Vanessa's face. "Trevor, please look at me. Look into my eyes. You know me. I would never do this to you. I thought I knew you." His voice broke. "I thought you were different from all the women my mother warned me about. But she was right. She said girls from your background always had angles. That you were just after my money. And I defended you. I damaged my relationship with my own mother because I believed in you." Patricia placed her hand on Trevor's shoulder. Her face arranged itself into fake sympathy. "I'm sorry you had to find out this way, darling. But better now than after the child is born and you're legally responsible for another man's mistake. Don't call my baby that." Vanessa stepped forward, protective fury overriding her fear. "Trevor, listen to me. I don't know what those papers say, but they're wrong. Someone made a mistake. This is your baby. Our baby. I have never been with anyone else. Not ever." Thunder cracked so loud the house shook. Rain hammered the windows like it was trying to break through. The storm that had been building all evening finally unleashed itself with full force. Trevor looked at his wife, at her tear-stained face, at her swollen belly, at the desperation in her eyes, and something inside him snapped. "You're a liar," he said, his voice going cold and dead. "You're a manipulator. You played me for a fool." "Trevor, please." Vanessa reached for him. He grabbed her wrist and pulled. "I want you out. Get out of this house." "Trevor, stop." "The baby," Vanessa stumbled, trying to keep her balance, as her pregnant body made everything harder. Patricia followed close behind, adding fuel to the fire. "She's been using you from the beginning, Trevor. I told you she wasn't good enough for this family. I told you." "You're right, Mother." Trevor's grip on Vanessa's wrist tightened until it hurt. "You were right about everything." They reached the front door. Rain pounded against it like something alive trying to get in. Wind howled. Lightning turned the world white for split seconds at a time. "Please," Vanessa begged. Both her hands were on her stomach now. The baby was kicking frantically, sensing her distress. "Please don't do this. I'm telling you the truth. Just let me stay until the storm passes. Then we can talk. We can go to a different lab." "There's nothing to talk about." Trevor wrenched the door open. Wind and rain exploded into the house, soaking the floors, the walls, everything. "Trevor, I'm 7 months pregnant." Vanessa's voice rose to a scream. "You can't just." His hand connected with her cheek, sharp, stinging. The sound echoed over the storm. Vanessa gasped. Her hand flew to her face. The shock hurt worse than the slap itself. "That's for making a fool of me," Trevor said. His voice was shaking, but his eyes were hard. "For lying to me. For trapping me with another man's child." Patricia stood behind him, arms crossed, satisfaction written all over her face. "Get her out, Trevor. She doesn't deserve to be under this roof." Trevor pushed. Vanessa stumbled backward through the door, down the front steps. Her feet slipped on wet concrete. She barely caught herself before hitting the ground. Rain instantly soaked through her clothes. Wind tore at her hair. She turned back, reaching for the door with desperate hands. "Trevor, please. I'm pregnant." The door slammed in her face. The lock clicked with brutal finality. Vanessa pounded on the door with both fists. "I'm pregnant. Please don't do this to us." Through the window, beside the door, she could see them. Trevor standing in the hallway. Patricia's hand still on his shoulder. Both of them watching her like she was nothing. Like she'd never been anything. Then Patricia reached over and yanked the curtains closed. Vanessa stood in the rain, shaking from cold and shock and disbelief. She had no phone, no wallet, no keys. Everything was inside the house that was no longer hers. A sharp pain ripped through her abdomen without warning. Vanessa doubled over, gasping. Too early. Too strong. This wasn't normal. The baby. Something was wrong with the baby. She started walking, stumbling. The street was flooding fast. Water rose past her ankles, past her calves. Thunder drowned out her sobs. Lightning showed her the empty road stretching ahead with no help in sight. Another contraction hit, harder this time. Vanessa fell to her knees in the rising water, feeling her baby kick weakly inside her. "Help," she tried to scream, but the storm swallowed her voice. "Somebody help me." Her vision blurred. Her legs gave out completely. Vanessa collapsed face down in the flood, feeling the cold water close over her head. The last thing she felt was her baby's kicks getting weaker, slower, then stopping altogether. 3 blocks from the house where her husband had thrown her out to die. 3 blocks from the man who chose his mother's lies over his wife's truth. 3 hours later, Trevor sat on the couch. The DNA papers were scattered around him. His mother brought him tea, her smile satisfied. His phone rang. He stared at it. Let it ring. It rang again. On the 4th call, he finally answered. "What?" "Mr. Hartley, this is Officer Chun with the city police. We need you to come to Mercy General Hospital immediately." Trevor's blood turned to ice. "Why? What happened?" "Sir, your wife was found unconscious in the street during the storm. She's in critical condition. The baby may not survive. How quickly can you get here?" The phone slipped from Trevor's hand, clattered to the floor. He stared at the DNA papers, at his mother's satisfied face, at the locked door where he'd pushed his pregnant wife into a storm. His face drained of all color. "Oh God," he whispered. "What have I done?" Beeping. That was the first thing Vanessa heard when she opened her eyes. White ceiling tiles, fluorescent lights, the sharp smell of antiseptic. A machine beside her bed beeped in rhythm with her heartbeat. She tried to sit up. Pain shot through her entire body, forcing her back down. "Easy, easy." A nurse appeared at her side, gently pressing her shoulder. "You've been through a lot, Mrs. Hartley. Don't move too fast." Mrs. Hartley. The name felt like a knife. Vanessa's hands flew to her stomach. Flat. Empty. Panic seized her chest. "My baby," she croaked. Her throat felt like sandpaper. "Where's my baby?" The nurse's expression softened. "Your daughter is in the NICU. She's a fighter." Daughter. She had a daughter. "I need to see her. Please, I need." "You will. Soon. But right now, you need to rest. You've been unconscious for 4 days. 4 days. Vanessa's mind couldn't process it. 4 days since Trevor threw her into that storm. 4 days since everything ended. "Where's my husband?" The question came automatically, before she could stop it. The nurse's face changed. Uncomfortable. She busied herself checking the 4 drip. "Let me get your doctor." But Vanessa already knew. The silence told her everything. Trevor hadn't come. He'd thrown her out to die, and he hadn't even called to see if she survived. The doctor came in 20 minutes later. Explained the emergency delivery, the complications, how close she'd come to not making it. "You're incredibly lucky," he said. "If that man hadn't found you when he did, we wouldn't be having this conversation." "What man?" "He's been here every day, paying your medical bills, asking about you. Would you like to see him?" Vanessa didn't understand, but she nodded. 10 minutes later, a man walked through the door. Tall, maybe mid-30s. He had kind eyes and hands that looked like they'd built things. Wore jeans and a simple jacket. Nothing fancy. "Hi," he said quietly, stopping a respectful distance from her bed. "I'm Marcus Reed. I'm the one who found you in the street." Vanessa stared at him. This stranger. This man who saved her life when her own husband left her to die. "Thank you," she whispered. The words felt too small for what he'd done. Marcus pulled up a chair and sat down. "I was driving home from a late shift when I saw you. At first, I thought it was debris from a storm. Then I realized it was a person, a pregnant woman, face down in the flood." He paused, his jaw tightening. "I've never driven so fast in my life getting you to the hospital. Why are you paying my bills? You don't even know me." Marcus was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was rough with old pain. 6 years ago, I lost my wife and daughter in a car accident. I was supposed to drive them to the airport that morning, but I had a work emergency. They took a cab instead. The cab driver ran a red light. Both of them died instantly." He looked down at his hands. "I couldn't save them, but I could save you. And once I'd saved you, I couldn't just walk away and pretend it didn't matter what happened next." Vanessa felt tears sliding down her face. "I don't know how to repay you. I don't want repayment. I just wanted to make sure you were okay." He hesitated. "The nurses said no one else has been here. No family. No husband." The word husband hit like a physical blow. Vanessa turned her face away, unable to stop the sob that escaped. "He threw me out," she said. "His mother convinced him the baby wasn't his." She had fake DNA papers. He believed her instead of me. He slapped me and threw me into the storm while I was 7 months pregnant. Marcus's face went hard. What kind of man does that? The kind who never loved me enough to choose me over his mother. Vanessa's voice broke. I begged him. I told him the truth. But he looked at me like I was nothing. You're not nothing, Marcus said firmly. You survived something that would have killed most people. You're stronger than you know. I don't feel strong. I feel broken. Broken things can heal. And sometimes they come back even stronger than before. Marcus leaned forward slightly. I know we just met, but I want to help. When you're discharged, you'll need somewhere to go. I have a guest house on my property. It's yours if you want it. No strings. Just a safe place to heal and figure out your next steps. Vanessa wanted to say no. Pride demanded it. But pride was a luxury she couldn't afford anymore. She had a daughter in the NICU. No money. No home. No husband. Why would you do this for a stranger? Because 6 years ago, I wish someone had been there for my family when I couldn't be. I can't change the past, but I can be here for you now. Vanessa closed her eyes. Tears leaked out from beneath her lids. Okay, thank you. The next day, a nurse wheeled Vanessa down to the NICU. Through the glass, she saw rows of tiny babies in plastic boxes. Then the nurse pointed to one in the corner. That's your Iris. Iris. The name hit Vanessa's chest like a fist. She'd chosen it months ago, had written it in a baby book, planning to surprise Trevor. The baby was so small, tubes and wires everywhere. But her little chest rose and fell steadily, fighting. Can I touch her? Yes. Come on. The nurse helped Vanessa into a chair beside the incubator, showed her how to reach through the openings. Vanessa's hand trembled as she touched her daughter's tiny fingers. Iris's hand closed around Vanessa's finger, held tight. Something inside Vanessa shifted, hardened, transformed from broken to burning. I promise you, she whispered to her daughter. Your father threw us away like we were nothing. But we survived. And I swear, we will rise from this. We will become so successful, so powerful, that he will spend the rest of his life knowing what he destroyed. Iris squeezed her finger tighter, like she understood. We're going to be okay, Vanessa said, more to herself than the baby. We don't need him. We never did. 2 weeks later, Vanessa was discharged. Iris had to stay in the NICU for another month, but she was stable, growing stronger every day. Marcus picked Vanessa up from the hospital, drove her to his property on the outskirts of town. The main house was beautiful but understated. The guest house sat 50 yards away, surrounded by trees. It's not much, Marcus said, carrying her small bag of belongings the hospital had given her. But it's clean and safe. Vanessa walked through the door and felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. Peace. It was small, 1 bedroom, a bathroom, a kitchen living room combo. But it was hers. A space where no one would hurt her. Marcus, I don't know how to thank you. You don't have to. Just focus on healing and getting your daughter home. He set her bag down and headed for the door. I'm in the main house if you need anything. Otherwise, I'll give you space. Marcus. Vanessa called out before he could leave. He turned back. Why are you really doing this? Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Because I know what it's like to lose everything in a single moment. And I know what it's like to wish someone had been there to catch you when you fell. I couldn't save my family, but maybe I can help you save yours. After he left, Vanessa sat on the couch in the silent guest house. No husband, no home, no money, just a daughter fighting for life in a hospital, and a stranger who'd given her a second chance. She pulled out the one thing she'd managed to keep, a small notebook she'd been using to sketch up ideas. Before Trevor, before the marriage, she'd been good with technology, had dreams of building something of her own. Those dreams had died when she became Mrs. Hartley. When Patricia made it clear that wives in their family didn't work. They decorated homes and hosted dinner parties and produced heirs. But Mrs. Hartley was gone now. drowned in that flood along with the woman who believed her husband would always choose her. Vanessa opened the notebook, looked at her old sketches, ideas for an app that connected freelance creative professionals with clients who needed their skills. She'd called it Lumina, light from darkness. Her hand hovered over the page. Then she grabbed a pen and started writing. Not sketching anymore. Planning, calculating, building something real from the ashes of her old life. Outside, rain started to fall. But this time, Vanessa wasn't afraid of storms. This time, she was the one who'd learned to rise from them. 6 months after the storm, Vanessa sat at the small kitchen table in the guest house, staring at her laptop screen. Iris slept in a bassinet beside her, finally home from a hospital. Healthy, thriving. The clock read 2:47 a.m. Vanessa had been coding for 6 hours straight. Just one more feature, she whispered to herself. Then we can sleep. A knock at the door made her jump. Marcus stood on the porch holding 2 cups of coffee. "Saw your light on," he said when she opened the door. "Figured you could use this." Vanessa took the coffee gratefully. "You're up late." "So are you. What are you working on?" She hesitated. Marcus had given her everything: a home, safety, help with Iris. But she hadn't told him about Lumina yet. Hadn't wanted to seem ungrateful by already planning her next move. "Come in," she said finally. "I'll show you." Marcus followed her to the laptop. Vanessa pulled up the prototype she'd been building. A clean interface. Simple but powerful. "It's an app," she explained. "Connects freelance creatives with clients. Graphic designers, writers, photographers, video editors. Anyone with a skill and someone who needs it. But it's different from the other platforms. This one uses AI matching to pair professionals with projects that actually fit their style. No more endless bidding wars. No more undercutting. Just quality matches." Marcus leaned closer, studying the screen. "This is incredible. How long have you been working on this?" "Since I got here. Late nights after Iris goes to sleep. I taught myself to code years ago, but never had the chance to use it. Trevor's mother thought working was beneath me." Vanessa's voice hardened on the name. She wanted a housewife. A decoration, not a person. "This could be huge," Marcus said quietly. "Have you tested it?" "Not yet. I need developers. A marketing team. Money to actually launch." Vanessa laughed bitterly. "None of which I have." Marcus straightened up. "What if you did?" "What?" "I've got savings. Money I've been sitting on since my wife died because I didn't know what to do with it. Invest it in something that mattered." He met her eyes. "I believe in this. And I believe in you. Let me help." Vanessa shook her head. "Marcus, you've already done too much. I can't take your money. You're not taking it. I'm investing it. There's a difference." Marcus pulled out a chair and sat down. "I've watched you these past 6 months. Working until you can barely keep your eyes open. Taking care of Iris. Never complaining. Never giving up. You're building something real here, Vanessa. Let me be part of it." Vanessa felt tears burning behind her eyes. What if it fails? Then it fails. But what if it doesn't? Marcus smiled. "What if it's everything you think it can be?" 3 weeks later, Vanessa sat across from her first hire, a developer named Amy Chun who'd built apps for major companies before going freelance. "So let me get this straight," Amy said, looking at the prototype. "You taught yourself to code in 6 months and built this? Is that bad?" "Are you kidding? This is solid work. With the right team, we could launch in 3 months." Amy looked up, excitement dancing in her eyes. "I'm in. When do we start?" "Right now," Vanessa said. They started in the guest house. Vanessa, Amy, and 2 other developers Marcus helped her find. Iris's bassinet sat in the corner while they coded and tested and rebuilt and tested again. Maya, Vanessa's only friend from her old life, showed up one afternoon with groceries and baby supplies. "I heard what Trevor did," Maya said, pulling Vanessa into a hug. "I'm so sorry. I should have been there. You're here now. That's what matters." Vanessa stepped back. "How did you find me?" "I have my ways." Maya grinned. "Also small town. People talk." Her expression turned serious. Are you okay? Really? I'm better than okay. Come inside. I want to show you something. Maya followed her into the guest house. Stopped short when she saw the setup. Laptops everywhere. Whiteboards covered in wireframes and user flows. Post-it notes plastered across the walls. What is all this? This is Lumina, my company. Vanessa pulled up the latest version on her laptop. We launch in 6 weeks. Maya's eyes went wide as Vanessa walked her through the features. This is amazing. Vanessa, this could actually work. It will work. It has to. Does Trevor know? Vanessa's jaw tightened. Trevor can rot for all I care. He made his choice. Now I'm making mine. Launch day came on a Tuesday in March. Vanessa barely slept the night before. At 6 a.m., she clicked the button that made Lumina live. Then she waited. The first user signed up at 6:03 a.m. Then another, and another. By noon, they had 50 users. By evening, 200. By the end of the week, 3,000. It's working, Amy said, staring at the analytics dashboard. Vanessa, it's actually working. But working wasn't enough. Vanessa wanted more, needed more. She started reaching out to influencers, offering free trials to major creative agencies, writing articles about the freelance economy, appearing on podcasts. Marcus watched from the sidelines, taking care of Iris when Vanessa had meetings, playing with her, reading her stories, being the father Trevor should have been. Mama, Iris said one morning, toddling over to Vanessa on unsteady legs. Vanessa scooped her up. That's right, baby. Mama's here. Dada. Iris looked around, then pointed at Marcus making breakfast in the kitchen. Vanessa's heart clenched. That's Marcus, sweetheart. He's our friend. But Iris had already moved on, reaching for Marcus. He took her without hesitation, settling her on his hip while he flipped pancakes. You're good with her, Vanessa said quietly. Marcus glanced over. She's easy to love. The moment stretched between them. Vanessa looked away first. 12 months after launch, Lumina had 50,000 active users. Revenue was climbing. Tech blogs were writing about them. Investors were calling. Vanessa hired a PR team, expanded the office, moved out of the guest house and into a real apartment, though she missed being close to Marcus more than she wanted to admit. We need to talk about scaling, Amy said during a team meeting. We're maxed out on server capacity. We need to either upgrade or turn away new users. We upgrade, Vanessa said without hesitation. Whatever it costs. That's a lot of money. Then we find it. We didn't build this to play small. 6 months later, the billboard went up. Downtown, right on Main Street. 40 feet tall. Vanessa's face staring out at the city, chin raised, eyes fierce. Lumina, built by those who refuse to break. Maya called her, screaming with excitement. Have you seen it? You're everywhere. Vanessa stood in front of the billboard, Iris in her arms. Yeah, she said softly. I've seen it. 2 years. It had taken 2 years to go from broken and homeless to this. To having her face on a billboard. To running a company worth millions. To proving that Trevor throwing her away was the biggest mistake of his life. Pretty, Iris said, pointing at the billboard. That's Mama, Vanessa said. Mama did that. Her phone buzzed. A magazine wanted to interview her for their cover. A podcast wanted her as a guest. An investor wanted to talk about a major expansion. Vanessa looked at the messages and smiled. Not the broken smile of the woman who'd crawled through that flood. The smile of a woman who'd learned to build empires from ashes. That night, Marcus came over with takeout. They sat on Vanessa's apartment floor, Iris playing with blocks between them. I'm proud of you, Marcus said. You know that, right? I couldn't have done this without you. Yes, you could have. You would have found another way. That's who you are. He paused. But I'm glad I got to be part of it. Iris crawled into Marcus's lap, yawning. He stroked her hair absently, and Vanessa felt something shift in her chest. Something warm and terrifying and real. Marcus. Her phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer. but something made her pick up. "Hello, Ms. Hartley?" A man's voice. Professional. Careful. "This is Detective Rodriguez with the city police. I'm calling about Trevor Hartley." Vanessa's blood went cold. "What about him?" "He's been trying to contact you. Filed multiple reports claiming you're keeping his daughter from him. I wanted to verify your side before we proceed." The world stopped. Trevor, after 2 years of silence, after throwing her into a storm and never looking back, he wanted it now, his daughter. Vanessa's voice came out sharp as broken glass. "He has no daughter. He threw us away. He doesn't get to come back now." "Ma'am, I understand this is difficult, but legally." "I'll call you back." Vanessa ended the call, sat frozen on the floor. Marcus was watching her. What happened? Trevor. The name tasted like poison. "He wants to see Iris." Iris looked up at the sound of her name, smiling her innocent smile. She had no idea, no memory of the man who'd nearly killed her before she was even born. "What are you going to do?" Marcus asked. Vanessa looked at her daughter, at the man who'd actually raised her, at the life they'd built from nothing. "I'm going to show him exactly what he lost," she said, "and make sure he knows he'll never get it back." Trevor Hartley sat in traffic on a Tuesday morning, late for a client meeting he didn't care about. His life had become a series of things he didn't care about. He glanced up at the billboard to kill time. Then his world stopped. That face. He knew that face. 40 feet tall, chin raised, eyes blazing with the kind of confidence that came from surviving hell and building heaven from the wreckage. Lumina, built by those who refused to break. Vanessa. Trevor's hands started shaking so badly he had to pull into a parking lot. He stared at that billboard until his vision blurred. She was alive. Not just alive, thriving, successful, powerful. The woman he'd thrown into a storm was staring down at the entire city like she owned it. His phone was in his hand before he realized it. He searched Lumina app. Articles flooded his screen. Tech blogs, business magazines, Forbes. Vanessa Hartley's Lumina disrupts the freelance industry. From rock bottom to revolutionary. The Vanessa Hartley story. How one woman built $1 million empire in 2 years. 2 years. She'd been gone 2 years. And in that time, she'd become everything he'd never believed she could be. Trevor drove straight to his mother's house. Burst through the door without knocking. Patricia sat in her recliner, thinner than she used to be. Sicker. Her hands shook slightly as she lowered her teacup. "Trevor, what? Did you know?" His voice shook with barely controlled rage. "Did you know she was successful?" Patricia's face went carefully blank. "I don't know what you're talking about." "Vanessa, the woman I threw out. The woman you convinced me was carrying another man's child." Trevor pulled up the Forbes article on his phone, shoved it in his mother's face. "She built a company. A real company. She's worth millions. And you knew, didn't you?" "Trevor, calm down. Tell me the truth." Trevor's voice cracked. "Was the DNA test real? Or did you lie?" Silence. Heavy and damning. "Answer me." Patricia's carefully constructed composure crumbled like wet paper. "I was protecting you. She wasn't good enough for this family. I found a lab technician who needed money. He manipulated the data to show what I needed it to show." The words hit Trevor like physical blows. "You lied. You made me believe." His voice broke completely. "She could have died. The baby could have died. But they didn't. I destroyed my family." Trevor's roar echoed through the house. "I slapped my pregnant wife. I threw her into a storm. I let her think I believed she cheated on me. Because I was too much of a coward to question you. I only wanted what was best. You wanted control, and I gave it to you." Trevor's voice went cold and dead. "Because I was weak. Because I chose you over the woman I promised to love and protect." He left without another word. Drove home in a daze. Called a private investigator. "I need you to find someone. Vanessa Hartley. I need to know where she lives. Where she works. Everything." 3 days later, the investigator's report arrived. Trevor opened it with shaking hands. Vanessa lived at Oak Ridge Estate, not as an owner, as a guest of Marcus Reed, a successful contractor who'd been funding her business ventures. There were photos. Vanessa laughing, a little girl with dark curls beside her, and Marcus, always Marcus, lifting the child, holding her hand, looking at Vanessa like she was the only person in the world. Trevor stared at the photos until they blurred. The investigator's notes were clinical and devastating. Subject's daughter, Iris Hartley, age 2. Strong resemblance to client. Same eye shape, similar facial structure. High probability of biological relation. His daughter. He had a daughter, and another man was raising her. Trevor showed up at the gates of Oak Ridge Estate the next morning. A security guard stepped out of the booth. "Can I help you?" "I'm here to see Vanessa Hartley. I'm her husband." The guard checked a tablet. "You're not on the approved visitor list, sir. I'll need you to leave." "I'm not leaving until I see her. That's my wife in there. My daughter." "Sir, if you don't leave, I'll have to call the police." Trevor sat in his car outside those gates for 3 hours. Finally, a black sedan pulled up. The gates opened. Trevor caught a glimpse through the window. Vanessa in the back seat, looking down at her phone. He honked, waved, shouted her name. The sedan didn't even slow down. Trevor tried her office next. Lumina headquarters was a sleek glass building downtown. He made it past the lobby before security stopped him. "I need to see Vanessa Hartley. Do you have an appointment?" "I'm her husband." The security guard spoke into his radio. 2 minutes later, 3 more guards appeared. "Sir, Ms. Hartley has requested you leave the premises immediately. I just want to talk to her." 5 minutes. "That's all I'm asking. If you don't leave voluntarily, we'll escort you out." Trevor tried to push past them. Hands grabbed him, pulled him backward. He was shouting Vanessa's name as they dragged him through the lobby and dumped him on the sidewalk. The elevator doors across the lobby opened. Vanessa stepped out. Designer suit. Heels that clicked with authority. Hair perfectly styled. She looked like she'd stepped off that billboard. She looked like a stranger. Vanessa walked toward him with slow, deliberate steps. Stopped 10 feet away. Her face was carved from ice. "You have 30 seconds to say whatever you came to say. Then security will remove you permanently." Trevor scrambled to his feet. "Vanessa, please. I made a mistake. The biggest mistake of my life. I'm so sorry." "You're sorry." Her voice was flat, empty. "That's what you came here to say? You're sorry." "My mother lied. The DNA test was fake. She paid someone to manipulate it. I was wrong about everything. I know she lied. I knew it then. I told you the truth, and you chose not to believe me." Vanessa's eyes were dead calm. "You chose her word over mine. You chose violence over trust. You slapped me and threw me into a storm while I was 7 months pregnant carrying your child. Those were your choices, Trevor. Not hers. Yours. I want to fix this. I want to be in my daughter's life. Please, Vanessa. She's my daughter too." "Is she?" Vanessa tilted her head slightly. "Because the man who's been her father is Marcus Reed. He's the one who saved our lives, who paid our medical bills, who held her when she cried, who taught her to walk, who reads her bedtime stories every night. You're just the man whose DNA she happens to share. That's not fair." "Fair." Vanessa's voice finally showed emotion, pure burning rage. "You want to talk about fair? Was it fair when you believed I cheated on you without any real proof? Was it fair when you hit me? When you threw me out with nowhere to go? When you locked the door and let me drown in that flood? I thought. You didn't think. You obeyed, like a good little boy following his mother's orders." Vanessa stepped closer. "Do you know what happened that night? I collapsed 3 blocks from your house. I went into labor alone in the middle of a street. I was unconscious for 4 days. Iris was in the NICU for a month fighting to survive. And you never called, never checked, never cared." Trevor's face crumbled. "I didn't know. You didn't want to know. If you'd cared even a little, you would have looked for me. But you didn't. You sat in your comfortable house with your mother and convinced yourself you were the victim. Vanessa's voice went cold again. Now you see, I'm successful, and suddenly you want in? That's not how this works. What do I have to do? Tell me what I have to do to make this right. Nothing. There is nothing you can do. You can't fix what you broke. You can't erase what you did. And you can't have my daughter. Our daughter. No. My daughter. Mine and Marcus's. He's been her father. You're nothing to her. I have rights. Rights. Vanessa laughed, sharp and bitter. You abandoned us. You never tried to find us. You have no rights. She turned to leave. Trevor grabbed her arm desperately. Please, Vanessa. I'm begging you. Vanessa looked down at his hand on her arm, then up at his face. Let go. Trevor released her like she'd burned him. If you contact me again, I'll file a restraining order. If you come near my daughter, I'll have you arrested. The life you destroyed is gone, Trevor. It's never coming back. And that's your fault. Live with it. She walked away, heels clicking, back straight, never looking back. Trevor stood on that sidewalk, watching the woman he'd thrown away walk back into the empire she'd built without him. His phone buzzed. A message from his lawyer. Got the court date. Custody hearing in 3 weeks. Trevor stared at the message. He'd filed for parental rights the moment he found out about Iris. His lawyer said he had a case. Biology mattered in court. But standing there, watching Vanessa disappear into her building, Trevor realized something that made his stomach turn. He might win legal access, but he'd already lost everything that actually mattered. If you're still watching and feeling that fire right now, tap that like button. You know Vanessa earned this moment. Show this story some love with a like and comment Rise Vanessa if you're rooting for her comeback. The family court smelled like stale coffee and broken promises. Vanessa sat at the plaintiff's table, her lawyer beside her. Across the aisle, Trevor sat with his attorney, looking like he hadn't slept in days. Judge Martinez reviewed the files, her reading glasses perched on her nose. This is a petition for visitation rights and potential shared custody. Mr. Hartley, you're claiming biological parentage of the minor child, Iris Hartley, age 2. Yes, Your Honor. Trevor's voice cracked slightly. And Ms. Hartley, you're opposing this petition? Vanessa's lawyer stood. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Hartley abandoned both Ms. Hartley and the child during pregnancy, showed no interest in their welfare for 2 years, and only resurfaced after learning of Ms. Hartley's financial success. That's not true. Trevor half rose from his chair. His lawyer pulled him back down. Judge Martinez's expression didn't change. Given the unusual circumstances and the child's age, I'm ordering a psychological evaluation and 1 supervised visitation. We'll reconvene in 30 days. Vanessa's hands clenched into fists under the table. 1 visit. The court was giving him 1 visit. Outside the courthouse, Trevor approached her. Vanessa, please. She walked past him like he didn't exist. 2 weeks later, Vanessa sat in a supervised visitation room at the Family Services Center. Iris played with blocks on the floor, completely unaware of what was about to happen. Marcus stood beside Vanessa, his hand on her shoulder. You don't have to do this. The court ordered it. I don't have a choice. There's always a choice. Not without losing everything I've built. Vanessa watched Iris stack blocks into a wobbly tower. She doesn't even know him. This is going to confuse her. The door opened. Trevor walked in, followed by a social worker named Ms. Chun, who'd be monitoring the visit. Iris looked up, studied the stranger with curious eyes, then looked back at her blocks. Hi, Iris. Trevor's voice shook. He knelt down a few feet away. I'm your father. Iris blinked at him. Dada's outside. No, sweetie. I'm your real father. Marcus is outside, Iris corrected, pointing at the door. That's my dada. Trevor's face crumbled. He glanced at Vanessa, who stared back with zero sympathy. I brought you something. Trevor pulled out a stuffed rabbit. Do you like bunnies? Iris took the toy cautiously, examined it, then set it aside and went back to her blocks. Do you want to play with me? Trevor asked desperately. I'm building. I can help. I do it myself. Iris's tone was matter-of-fact. The same tone she used when she didn't want help putting on her shoes. Trevor sat there, helpless, watching his daughter build towers and knock them down without acknowledging his existence. 30 minutes passed like torture. Trevor tried everything, asking questions Iris ignored, offering to read a book she didn't want, suggesting games she showed no interest in. Finally, Iris stood up, walked straight past Trevor to the door, knocked on it. "Dada? Mama? I'm done now." Ms. Chin opened the door. Marcus was there immediately, scooping Iris into his arms. "Hey, baby girl. Did you have fun? I builded a tower. This tall." Iris spread her arms wide. "That's amazing. Want to show me?" Iris nodded enthusiastically. Marcus carried her back into the room, and Vanessa watched Trevor's face as Iris wrapped her arms around Marcus's neck and pointed at her blocks. "See, Dada? I made it all by myself." "You're so smart," Marcus said, genuine pride in his voice. "Just like your mama." Trevor sat frozen on the floor, watching his daughter call another man Dada, watching her light up for someone else, watching the family he destroyed exist perfectly well without him. "Time's up," Ms. Chin said gently. Iris didn't even glance at Trevor as Marcus carried her out. She was too busy telling him about the rabbit the nice man had given her. In the hallway, Trevor caught up to them. "Vanessa, wait. Please. We're done here." "That's my daughter." "No." Vanessa turned on him, her voice sharp enough to cut. "That's my daughter. Mine and Marcus's. We're the ones who wake up with her at night, who kiss her scraped knees, who teach her words and watch her grow. You're a stranger she met once in a supervised room. The court will give me more time." "Will they?" Vanessa's smile was cold. "Ms. Chun just watched your daughter ignore you for 30 minutes straight, then run to the man she actually considers her father. You think that's going to help your case?" Trevor's face went white. "You poisoned her against me." "I didn't have to. She doesn't know you. She has no memory of you. And why would I tell her about the man who slapped me and threw me into a storm?" Vanessa stepped closer. "You want her to know you're her biological father? Fine. When she's old enough, I'll tell her. I'll tell her everything you did, and she can decide for herself if she wants anything to do with you." "Vanessa, we're leaving. Don't follow us." Marcus carried Iris to the car. Vanessa followed, not looking back. Trevor stood in that hallway, watching them disappear. His phone buzzed. His lawyer. "Social worker's preliminary report isn't good. Child shows strong attachment to Marcus Reed. No recognition or bonding with biological father. Judge may deny further visitation." Trevor slid down the wall until he was sitting on the floor. Other families walked past, dealing with their own broken situations. None of them looked at him. He pulled out his phone, scrolled through old photos from before everything fell apart. Vanessa laughing at something he'd said, her hand on her pregnant belly, her smile that used to be just for him. That woman didn't exist anymore. He'd killed her the night he chose his mother's lies over her truth. A week later, Trevor sat in Judge Martinez's office for the follow-up hearing. "Mr. Hartley," the judge said, reading from Ms. Chen's report, "the child showed no attachment or recognition during the supervised visit. She refers to Marcus Reed as Dada and appears to have a strong, healthy bond with him. She showed distress when separated from Mr. Reed and relief when reunited with him. That's because Vanessa won't let me be part of her life." Trevor burst out. "Mr. Hartley, you made no attempt to contact your daughter for 2 years. Ms. Hartley has documentation showing she was hospitalized, nearly died, and you never inquired about her welfare." Judge Martinez removed her glasses. "This court's primary concern is the child's well-being. Forcing a relationship with a biological parent the child doesn't know, against the wishes of a custodial parent who has provided stable care, is not in her best interest." "You're saying I have no rights to my own daughter?" "I'm saying you forfeited those rights when you abandoned them. If you'd like to pursue this further, you're welcome to file another petition when the child is older and can express her own wishes. Until then, I'm denying visitation." The gavel came down. Trevor sat there, numb. His lawyer was saying something about appeals, but the words didn't register. He'd lost. Completely and totally lost. Outside the courthouse, reporters were waiting. Someone had leaked that the Luminous CEO was in a custody battle. Ms. Hartley, how does it feel to win custody? Vanessa, is it true the father abandoned you? Will you comment on the case? Vanessa walked past them all, head high, Iris in her arms. Marcus beside her like a shield. A reporter shoved a microphone in Trevor's face. Mr. Hartley, what do you have to say? Trevor looked at the camera, at the reporters, at Vanessa's retreating figure. I was wrong, he said quietly, about everything. Then he turned and walked away from the flashing cameras, the shouted questions, the story of his own failure being broadcast for the world to see. That night, Trevor sat in his empty house. The same house he'd thrown Vanessa out of. It felt bigger now, colder, like a tomb. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered anyway. Mr. Hartley? This is Patricia Hartley's hospice nurse. I'm calling to let you know your mother passed away this evening. Trevor hung up, stared at the wall, felt nothing. His mother had destroyed his life to maintain control, and he'd let her, because he'd been too weak to choose his wife over his mother's approval. Now they were both gone. Vanessa, Iris, his mother, everything. And he was sitting alone in a house full of ghosts, with nothing but regrets, and the knowledge that he'd done this to himself. 6 months after the custody hearing, Vanessa stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows of her new office on the 20th floor. Lumina had just been valued at $500 million. She'd made it, really made it. A knock at the door pulled her from her thoughts. Marcus walked in, Iris holding his hand. Someone wanted to see Mama before we head to the park. Iris ran to Vanessa, arms outstretched. Mama, Marcus says we can get ice cream. Did he now? Vanessa scooped her daughter up, kissing her cheek. What flavor are you going to get? Chocolate. And strawberry. And vanilla. That's 3 flavors, baby. I'm 3 years old. Iris held up 3 fingers proudly. Marcus laughed. She's got a point. Vanessa set Iris down. Go pick out which toy you want to bring to the park. It's in the playroom. Iris took off running. The moment she was gone, the smile on Marcus's face shifted into something more serious. We need to talk, he said quietly. Vanessa's stomach dropped. Those 4 words never meant anything good. About what? Marcus crossed to her desk, pulled out a small box from his jacket pocket, set it down between them. Vanessa stared at it, at him. Her heart was suddenly beating too fast. I've been in love with you for 2 years, Marcus said. Maybe longer. I tried not to be. You were healing, building your life. I didn't want to complicate things. But Vanessa, I can't keep pretending anymore. He opened the box. A simple ring, beautiful in its simplicity. I know this might seem fast to some people, but I've watched you rise from nothing. I've seen you at your worst and your best. I've helped raise your daughter. I've fallen asleep thinking about you and woken up wanting to see your face. Marcus's voice was steady, certain. I don't want to be your friend anymore. I don't want to be the guy who lives next door. I want to be your husband, your partner, Iris's father, officially, legally, completely. Vanessa's hands were shaking. Marcus, you don't have to answer now. I just needed you to know. I needed you to know that what Trevor threw away, I want to spend the rest of my life cherishing. Tears were streaming down Vanessa's face. Good tears. Happy tears. The kind she'd forgotten existed. Yes, she whispered. Marcus's eyes widened. Yes. Yes, I'll marry you. Yes to all of it. Vanessa laughed through her tears. You saved my life, Marcus. You gave me a home when I had nowhere to go. You loved my daughter like she was yours. You believed in me when I barely believed in myself. How could I possibly say no? Marcus pulled her into his arms, kissed her like he'd been waiting years to do it. And maybe he had. Iris's voice came from the doorway. Are you kissing Mama? They broke apart. Marcus knelt down to Iris's level. I am. Is that okay with you? Iris thought about it seriously. Do I still get ice cream? Absolutely. Then it's okay. She paused. Does this mean you're going to live with us forever? If that's all right with you. Iris threw her arms around Marcus's neck. I want you forever, Dada. Marcus's eyes met Vanessa's over Iris's head. The look on his face said everything words couldn't. They got married 6 weeks later in Marcus's backyard. Small ceremony. Just close friends and Maya, who cried through the entire thing. Iris was the flower girl, taking her job so seriously that she counted every petal she dropped. When the officiant asked if anyone objected, Vanessa's heart jumped for just a second. But the backyard stayed quiet, peaceful, perfect. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Marcus kissed her like she was the only thing keeping him alive. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. Reed. Reed. Not Hartley. Never Hartley again. That night, after Iris was asleep and the guests had gone home, Marcus handed Vanessa a folder. What's this? Adoption papers. I want to adopt Iris. Officially. Make her mine legally, not just in our hearts. Vanessa opened the folder. Read the papers. Trevor has to sign off on this. He has to terminate his parental rights. I know. I already reached out to his lawyer. And he agreed. He's signing them next week. Vanessa sat down hard. He's giving her up? He knows he lost. And maybe, for once, he's doing the right thing. Marcus sat beside her. Iris will be Iris Reed. Completely. No ties to him at all. 3 weeks later, it was official. The adoption went through. Iris became Iris Reed, daughter of Marcus and Vanessa Reed. Lumina continued growing. Vanessa hired 100 new employees. Opened offices in 3 cities. Made the cover of Time magazine. The headline read, How Vanessa Reed Built an Empire from Ashes. The article told her story, most of it anyway. The betrayal, the storm, the near-death experience, the rise. She left out the slap, left out the worst details. Some things didn't need to be public. But the message was clear. She'd been destroyed, and she'd rebuilt herself into something unbreakable. Maya called her after the article dropped. You're a legend. You know that, right? I'm just a woman who refused to stay down. That's what makes you a legend. 6 months after the adoption, Vanessa and Marcus had another daughter. They named her Hope. Iris was obsessed with her baby sister. Wanted to help with everything. Bottles, diaper changes, reading stories. I'm the big sister, she told everyone who'd listen. I have to teach her things. One evening, Vanessa sat in the nursery, rocking Hope while Iris played on the floor. Marcus leaned against the doorway, watching them. What are you thinking about? Vanessa asked. How 3 years ago, I was driving home in a storm and found you. How that one moment changed everything. Changed everything for both of us. You ever wonder what would have happened if I hadn't been on that road that night? No, Vanessa said firmly. Because you were. That's what matters. Iris looked up from her toys. Mama, can I ask you something? Always, baby. Amy at school says kids have a mommy and a daddy. I have you and Dada. But some kids talk about other dads. Iris tilted her head. Do I have another dad somewhere? Vanessa's heart stopped. She looked at Marcus, who nodded slightly. They talked about this moment. Knew it would come eventually. Come here, sweetheart. Iris climbed into Vanessa's lap beside baby Hope. You had a biological father, Vanessa said carefully. But he wasn't able to be your daddy. So Marcus became your real father. The one who chose you. The one who loves you. Biology doesn't make a family, baby. Love does. So Dada's my real dad. The realest, Marcus said, kneeling beside them. And I chose you from the very beginning. That's never going to change. Iris thought about it, then smiled. Okay, I'm glad you're my Dada. Me too, princess. Me too. Later that night, after the girls were asleep, Vanessa stood on the back porch. Marcus found her there, wrapped his arms around her from behind. You okay? I keep thinking about that night. The storm. The flood. How close I came to not making it. Vanessa leaned back against him. And I realize that night was the beginning of my real life. Everything before was just practice. You regret any of it? I regret trusting Trevor. I regret not seeing Patricia for what she was sooner. But I don't regret where it led me. She turned in his arms. I don't regret finding you. Building Lumina. Becoming the person I needed to be. You're incredible. You know that. I'm a survivor. There's a difference. You're both. Across town, Trevor sat in a small apartment. Nothing like the house he used to own. He'd sold that months ago. Couldn't stand being there anymore. His phone buzzed. A notification. Time Magazine's website. He clicked it. Vanessa's face filled the screen. The article about her empire. Her success. Her perfect family with Marcus and 2 daughters. He read every word. Tortured himself with the details of what she'd built. What he'd destroyed. At the end of the article was a quote from Vanessa. The worst thing that ever happened to me became the catalyst for the best thing. Sometimes you have to lose everything to discover what you're truly capable of becoming. Trevor closed his laptop, stared at the wall. He'd started volunteering at a shelter for men escaping toxic family situations, teaching them to recognize manipulation, to choose their partners over parental control, to be better than he'd been. It wasn't redemption. Nothing could fix what he'd broken. But it was something. A way to stop other men from making his mistakes. His phone rang. Maya. I'm calling because Vanessa asked me to. Maya said, without preamble. The adoption is final. Iris is legally Marcus's daughter now. Your signature terminated your parental rights. I know. Do you? Do you understand what you signed away? Yes. I signed away the only thing that mattered. But she was never mine anyway. Not really. I lost her the night I threw her mother into a storm. At least you finally understand that. Maya's voice softened slightly. For what it's worth, Trevor, she's happy. Really happy. Marcus is good to them. Iris is thriving. They're a family. Good. That's good. Is it? Because you don't sound like you think it's good. It doesn't matter what I think anymore. I made my choices. Now I get to live with them. Maya was quiet for a moment. She doesn't hate you. In case you were wondering. She just doesn't think about you at all. The line went dead. Trevor sat in the silence, understanding that being forgotten was worse than being hated. Back at the Reed house, Vanessa checked on both daughters one last time. Iris sprawled across her bed, clutching her stuffed rabbit. The one Trevor had given her 3 years ago, now threadbare and loved. Hope slept in her crib, tiny fists curled beside her face. Marcus appeared in the doorway. They're perfect. They are. Vanessa crossed to him. We're perfect. Yeah, Marcus said, pulling her close. We really are. And they were. Not because life was easy. Not because everything had worked out perfectly. But because they'd chosen each other. Built something real from ruins. Turned pain into power. Vanessa had promised herself in that hospital bed 3 years ago that she'd rise. That she'd become so successful Trevor would spend his life knowing what he destroyed. She'd kept that promise. Built an empire. Created a family. Became a queen. Not because of what had been done to her, but because of what she'd done with it. Because she'd refused to stay broken. Because she'd chosen to rise. And queens don't look back at ashes. They're too busy building kingdoms. If you enjoyed the story, don't forget to like. It really helps the channel grow. And drop a comment telling us where you are watching from and your favorite moment in the story. And subscribe to Mr. William Chronicles so you don't miss stories like this. We tell stories about people who turned their pain into power. And trust me, there are more coming. See you in the next one.